oh, helicopters can fly to 14,000 feet, they can fly to 20,000 feet, they can fly super high. What are you talking about? Hey, so the title of the video is true. I pissed off some helicopter pilots with a TikTok I made. Anything you post online, people are always gonna be pissed off about something, some part of it. And that's something I've experienced with this YouTube channel, my TikTok, Instagram. There's always negative people that always say things. I can take positive criticism when people like say, hey, this wasn't right. And I'll be like, oh yeah, you're right. And when they point something out, but people will always come up with stupid comments and just mean stuff to say, and that's just the nature of the internet, and that's okay. Shameless plug, I've got a TikTok account with a bunch of videos, and TikTok's a really interesting platform because they're really short videos like YouTube Shorts. So go check out my TikTok if you want. It's just like a different side of my YouTube channel, different helicopter stuff. Here is the video in question. We're gonna talk about it. Pretty funny stuff. I think it's quite funny. I'll let you watch it first, all the way through. It's 34 seconds, and then I'll go through and we'll talk about the points that people were upset about and kind of break down what I was trying to say. And let me start off by saying that this was a trend. This is a trend on TikTok to say like 5 things you would never do as a helicopter pilot, as a doctor, as a janitor, as a teacher. Just 5 things you wouldn't do if you were in this position. So I was just on that trend. All right, kind of late to the trend, but here are 5 things I would never do as a helicopter pilot. Number 1, I would never fly into a cloud without the proper instruments in the proper helicopter. If you do, it will probably kill you. Number 2, I would never try to race an airplane. The airplane's gonna win. Number 3, I would never land in a McDonald's parking lot. The parking lot's probably too slippery from all the grease. Number 4, I would never fly higher than 10,000 feet. Helicopters don't belong up there. And number 5, I would never fly over the ocean at night. That's super dangerous. And follow me for more helicopter content. All right, so there it is. I'll go through and we'll quickly talk about the first couple, and then maybe you have picked it out, the part that people have problems with, but let me explain the first one. All right, kind of late to the trend, but here are 5 things I would never do as a helicopter pilot. Number 1, I would never fly into a cloud without the proper instruments in the proper helicopter. If you do, it will probably kill you. All right, so for all of you guys that watch this channel, and for anyone that doesn't, people that watch this have heard me say it, but anyone that doesn't know, inadvertent IMC, flying a helicopter into a cloud is by far the #1 killer of helicopter pilots. It's called, well, you get spatial disorientation, it's inadvertent IMC, loss of control. Basically, as you fly into the cloud, unless you're like really prepared and you're looking at your instruments and you're ready, that switch from VFR visual conditions to IFR instrument conditions can get you caught off guard, and you can lose orientation of the aircraft. You can lose spatial awareness and lose control of the aircraft really quickly. It happens all the time. I'm a big proponent of really safe flying and trying to avoid getting yourself into this situation. It's really hard to maintain control. So as a helicopter pilot, I would never inadvertently try to fly into a cloud. Helicopters can fly in clouds if they've got autopilot and they've got the right instruments and they've got a pilot that knows what they're doing. So that first one, a lot of people agree with, and that's relatively common knowledge that you should avoid flying into clouds when you're not prepared in the right helicopter with the right instruments. 2, I would never try to race an airplane. The airplane's gonna win. I mean, airplanes are always gonna win. There's some helicopters that are fast, but most airplanes are, like, just the most generic airplane is faster than like most helicopters, you know? So I wouldn't try to race an airplane. 3, I would never land in a McDonald's parking lot. The parking lot's probably too slippery from all the grease. All right, so that was a joke, totally a joke. And that actually wasn't the one that people were upset about. A McDonald's parking lot is probably not that greasy. It was just kind of funny. I don't know. The grease from McDonald's in the parking lot would make the helicopter slip. It was just a joke. But it's this next one that people really got all upset about. 4, I would never fly higher than 10,000 feet. Helicopters don't belong up there. And all right, I said I would never fly higher than 10,000 feet. Helicopters don't belong up there. So what people were upset with is like, oh, helicopters can fly to 14,000 feet, they can fly to 20,000 feet, they can fly super high. What are you talking about? Helicopters can fly this far. Yeah, that's true. However, I would never fly above 10,000 feet AGL, above ground level. Let me show you what I mean. All right, so here's my iPad, and the point I was trying to say is, and here on the right hand side we have altitude. So this is altitude in thousands of feet. So here's like 4,000 feet, here's 11,000 feet, here's 13,000 feet. And what I was trying to say is I would never want to fly a helicopter like at 11,000 feet over flat land. So like, let's say you're in Kansas or somewhere super flat, like over a really flat area. The reason you don't want to fly over like super high when it's flat is up there, it looks really high. Like you're really far from the ground. And personally, I'm just not comfortable with that. You know, I just don't love being that high. You know, I'm a helicopter pilot. I like to be down here, like the sub 1,000 region. I'll go up to like 4,000 feet, but I like, this is my good zone. But at 10,000 feet, what happens is you lose a lot of spatial and attitude information. So it's really hard to determine the helicopter pitch and roll outside of your instruments. You know, when you're down by the ground, you've got trees and stuff. There's my example of a tree, and you've got like buildings and stuff. So you can tell pitch and roll information and yaw information really easily. But up here near like, once you get like above 8,000 feet, everything becomes really flat, especially if you're in like a really flat area, like the Midwest or something. But what I was trying to say is like, if you're over here and this is your helicopter, and let's say you're like reading like whatever, 13,500 feet on your altimeter, that's high. Like, yeah, that's actually quite high. But at that point, you're only maybe, I don't know, 4,000 feet AGL. You're only 4,000 feet above the ground level. And at 4,000 feet, you still have all that pitch and yaw and roll information because you have all of these references. So when you're out here at like 11,000 feet over a flat area, it's really uncomfortable. There's just the way I like to say it to my students is it just looks like there's a lot of way to fall. You're like really far from the ground, and being in a helicopter with just a couple of blades above you is kind of disconcerting. You know, as I'm going through my fixed wing training and I'm learning how to fly airplanes, you know, I've gone up to 8, 10, 12, 14,000 feet in an airplane. And even higher in a commercial airplane. It's not bad. It feels super stable, super comfortable. Even at the controls, it feels fine at 12,000 feet. Just something about those wings, you know, it just feels, even if it's not smooth, it just feels stable. You know, at 10,000 feet in a helicopter, it just feels uncomfortable, especially if you don't have any reference. So 13,000 feet with references feels a lot different than 13,000 feet with no references over a flat area. And so that's the point I was trying to make on number 4 in that video there. Yeah, it's like, of course helicopters can fly super high, and in like a mountainous environment where the altitude, the ground level is already pretty high, sure, you can go into those levels, but like 10,000 feet above flat ground just, to me, doesn't feel that great. Some people are totally unbothered by it. You know, they'll go to 15,000 feet in a helicopter and just be chilling. But the vast majority of helicopter pilots that I know agree with me on this. You know, it just doesn't feel super good. And we'll watch the last one. I would never fly over the ocean at night. That's super dangerous. And follow. All right, so never flying over the ocean at night. So you can fly over water and you can fly over the ocean at night. Of course you can. But the same thing is, you would never want to do that in a helicopter without proper instrumentation. If you were flying over the ocean at night, I mean, the sky is black and then the water is black. You may have a little bit of moonlight and that may give you some reference of the water, but it's really easy to lose spatial orientation, to start turning and not realize it and lose control of the aircraft. It's just like flying in the clouds. You know, you really want to be like trained up on your instruments, comfortable with your instruments, and planning to use those instruments, because you just don't have that same pitch and roll information. And you can fly in the clouds in a helicopter, it's doable. You can fly over the ocean at night in a helicopter, it's doable, but you just want the proper instrumentation. So that's one of the challenges with TikTok and like short form video. You know, on this video I can explain myself and I can like talk you through my thought process, but like TikTok and YouTube Shorts, it's really an interesting platform because people can take what you say out of context because you just don't get to explain the same words. But I want to pass this off to you. If you have flown helicopters, or if you want to fly helicopters, or if you're just a casual observer, do you agree with me? Do you think really high altitudes in a helicopter would be uncomfortable or is uncomfortable? Or do you not? Are you totally cool with being at those high altitudes and you just feel like super rock solid? Let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you thought. This was a really fun video. It's really fun to see some people's reactions to what you have to say. I love being on social media, and I love interacting with people and talking about helicopters. You know, you get people that agree with you, people that absolutely hate what you have to say, people that just have a vendetta out against you. You know, they just hate every piece of content. It's really just interesting, and it's really good human nature to see. You know, we are growing this channel. I think this is my 99th YouTube video, so we're getting there. You know, we are growing, and I'm loving this community. I love all you guys that comment and talk with me. It's really awesome to see. And if you enjoyed it, smash that like button, and I will see you guys on the next one. Take care.